Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here as well. More baseball coming up before we skedaddle for the day, but we got to get into some football. You know, football used to be like the last bastion of unadulterated manhood.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's kind of one of the things that makes it so popular.
Still is.
Yeah, violence and drinking and guys being guys and, spitting on the field and, all that kind of stuff that we all love as guys. I saw the story today, though, that you guys all saw what happened this weekend with the Arizona Cardinal game.
Yeah.
Right, where the dude, Emari Demercado, running back for the Cardinals, goes like 70 yards for a touchdown. And unfortunately, like a handful of, dumb guys in the NFL decides to start the celebration a little bit early and fumbles the football right before he crosses the goal line. So Coach Gannon out there in Arizona, rightfully so, livid, like pissed beyond belief, and goes up to him on the sideline and gets up in his grill. And he's yelling and screaming. And he might have accidentally touched him with an index finger because he was so pissed off about it. And a couple other players come in and kind of separate him a little bit. And Demercado's clearly unconsolable because he knows he totally screwed the pooch. And then, of course, fast forward a half hour, they lose the game.
Yeah.
An embarrassing loss for the Cardinals, and a loss that may set them back from making the playoffs this year because they could be a wild card team this year, right? So to us, guys that have lived long enough to watch football, for a long time, that's just what happens on an NFL sideline. Guy makes a stupid play, costs them a touchdown, which then costs them the game. The coach, rightfully so, is livid about it, gets in the player's face. He's MFing him for sure. And yes, he did touch him. Not saying he didn't. He made contact with him. But the coach is also wearing a windbreaker. The football player's got pads and a helmet on, right? So it wasn't like he was like, yo, let's go and start fighting. He touched him. Afterwards, it's the big story. A, that Demercado messed up like that. And B, can't believe Gannon attacked him, verbally and physically on the sideline. The Arizona Cardinals then came out of the blue yesterday and announced that they have fined their head coach $100,000. And in doing so, in my opinion, you have now rendered him, what's the word I'm looking for? Incapable of being the head coach now of the Arizona Cardinals. You've now made him cuckolded is what you've done. You've now said, we have to be worried and concerned about our woke players now who are very sensitive to being yelled at by a head coach.
Woke?
Could you imagine if John Gruden were the coach, if Bill Parcells was the coach, if Bill Belichick was the coach, if Denny Green was the coach, or any of the, those guys that we've seen, not fiery tempers on the sideline, right? They were who we thought they were. If Jim Mora were the coach, right?
Yeah.
But because athletes today are growing up in a different environment than we did growing up, and they're soft, frankly, and people get upset when a player's yelled at or touched by the head coach, the Cardinals come out and go, we're going to take the player's side on this one. And they fine the dude $100,000. And by fining him, you've now set up a divide. You've now made it impossible for Coach Gannon to discipline other players or to be pissed off when a player makes a mistake. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, we're fining coaches for yelling at players now? Isn't this the NFL? Isn't that part of it? If you're going to be a jackass and try to celebrate before you score a very important touchdown and it costs us the football game, what do you want the coach to say? I know, I understand what it's like. You wanted to celebrate. We all want to celebrate. But son, wait to celebrate until after you score. That's not what you do. You get in his face and you, hey, dumbass, you cost us a football game. And in turn, that might cost me my job. We find that guy $100,000, and it's no surprise that it's the Bidwell family doing it. It's no surprise it's the Arizona Cardinals, arguably next to the Panthers, the worst football franchise in the NFL
Jets.
for a very, very long time.
Jets.
Yeah, put my Jets in there,
Yeah, the
too.
Jets are in there. Yeah.
I don't think Woody Johnson's going to fine Aaron Glenn $100,000 because he cut the punt returner last week who fumbled the punt.
No, of course
Or
not.
caught the ball on the 2. Oh, that was so mean of you to cut him. I'm going to fine you $100,000. You hurt that man's feelings. Like, what are we doing? Huh?
There are
doing?
ex-players your age who agree with the fine. What do you say to them?
Nobody agrees with the fine.
Jeff Saturday.
Who does?
Jeff Saturday.
Jeff Saturday's an idiot. Jeff Saturday's another failed head coach who ran right back to ESPN so that he could stay relevant in some matter. Probably a decent human being, but you know the guy I want on the sideline?
Who's that?
Have you seen this video of Greg Olson coaching his middle school son's football team?
I've seen that.
Awesome. He's a badass. That's an unacceptable play, Junior. Go run 30 laps. Like, that's football. Can we act like it's football? I'm so sorry I hurt Amir's feelings. He really tried his hardest. Get out of town.